And welcome. We are here at the wonderful Oulton Park circuit as we return for 2026 for the first time, and we are here for the SRL TCR League as we prepare for season 10 of competition. We are here around for our second pre-season test, our final pre-season test of the league, because we are going to be heading across to Jerez for the first round of competition next Friday. It is going to be an absolutely fantastic calendar. It's going to be a fantastic league. 50 drivers registered for season 10. It is full. It is to the brim. 21 teams. It is absolutely heaving out there. It is going to be a lot to get our heads around tonight, and that is why we are out here on the circuit. The drivers, they're getting themselves used to racing with each other and competing down on a very, very packed grid up here in the commentary booth. And you guys watching at home, it's going to be about learning liveries, numbers, cars, everything. This is the calendar. Moving ahead then, we go to Jerez, as I say, next week to start this season off. The points start to matter. The classes won't be decided until after Long Beach, however, and then all of the results backdated to the beginning of the season, which means that Jerez, Motegi, Long Beach, we are going to be racing with everyone under the overall championship. When we head across to Summit Point, though, on January the 30th, we are going to see all four classes out there. We are introducing a new class to the championship this season. We have got the pros at the top as normal, but the step below now is the semi-pros. So all of those drivers at the top end of the Pro-Ams last season, we'll be seeing them take the step into that semi-pro class. Then you had the Pro-Am class, and then at the bottom, as always, we have our amateur class as well. So 4 classes for this season. It is going to be absolutely fantastic, and when we head to Summit Point, we will see each of the drivers separated into their classes. We then head across to Hungaroring. That's round number 5. It marks a halfway point in this season at the beginning of February. We then head back stateside for VIR. We head across to Europe, Mugello, Brands Hatch, Catalunya, 3 fantastic circuits. And we finish off at Road America on March 13th, but we're not even there yet. We begin next week, so make sure you don't miss it. If you're watching over on that YouTube, hit that subscribe button, hit the thumbs up. If you hit that subscribe button there, you're going to be notified when SRLTV goes live, and therefore you aren't going to miss a single one of the league races this season. If you hit that follow button over on Twitch, then you aren't going to miss any of the races over there either, or any of the other races that are broadcasted. Now, it is going to be a very interesting evening tonight because we have 37 drivers. Like I said, we have 50 registered, but this is the biggest field in the TCR series that we have seen to date, and it's for a pre-season. Can you just imagine how amazing it is going to be next week, because it is going to be absolutely full. And for the first time this year, I welcome you to the commentary box here at Joseph Bright Broadcasting and SRL TV as we prepare for the 10th season of competition. Now, I have, as always, a whole host of stats. I've got all of my team and drivers up the top there because that is going to get some getting used to. 50 drivers that I'm going to have to learn the racing numbers for, the names for, and then 21 teams. And only 2 of those teams aren't full. They only have 1 driver. That'll be Arthur Thurdle. He's on his own in Altitude 3M Esports. And Andrew Lovesey, he's on his own in SRL White. Now, Thurtle was incredibly quick last season, a real contender. Can he take the fight to Dan Mould this season? That's the question. Is anyone going to be able to take the fight to Dan Mould this season? Because Mould was extremely strong in season number 9. Of course, Mould didn't take a win back at pre-season number 1 before the new year. He didn't find himself at the front. In fact, one of the drivers that found themselves at the front there was Marcelo Reales. He won't find himself on the grid for season number 10. So one of our pre-season winners, well, he's not going to be here. So it turns our attention now to some few other names. How are they going to go? Arthur Thurtle said he was extremely quick last season. He is finding himself the fastest in the practice session. That's currently ongoing in the background right now. It's got about 4 more minutes left of practice before qualifying comes along. Some new names at the top there. Jack Bolton. He finds himself second fastest at the moment, less than a tenth of a second off of Thurtle. Now, Bolton is racing independently. No team name, no team affiliation there. So let's see what he's able to do. It's going to be interesting to see. I know I was sitting around in a few other streamers that were streaming this event they were saying that Bolton's actually an incredibly quick driver. So it's going to be interesting to see how he gets on out there. Another driver that was showing some good pace, wasn't able to attend all the races though last season, Adam Delmont. He's third fastest in that session right now. Luciano Espinera, he sits in 6th at the moment, the Argentinian driver. That's another new name to the championship that's looking to see what he can do, sitting 6th right now. A number of new names up and down the field as you just fly through. It's such that entire screen is full of names. There are so many drivers out there right now, and the top 26 of them are separated by just 1 second. It is going to be absolutely incredible. Now, season 9 was a domination for a few drivers in their respective classes. Borkland, he didn't win the championship, but if it was a championship for the most fastest laps, he got 9 of them. Now, there are only 20 races in a season. He got 9 fastest laps, and that does matter. Points that you get for fastest lap and for pole, each of them dictated by class, it means that there are some extra points on offer there. Borkland also got the most poles last season with 4. So with all the bonus points on offer, he got so many that he needed to help his championship fight. It obviously didn't turn into a championship victory for him. Dan Mould winning that one, but he certainly has an opportunity for this one. Then, of course, we think about Lucas Henschel. Now, Henschel was an absolutely dominant force in the amateur class last season. We will see him move up, whether that's to the Pro-Am class or the new semi-pro class is up for debate at the moment. But Lucas Henschel found his way to most class victories. He took 8 victories in 20 races. It's absolutely incredible. But he didn't get the most fast lap or most poles either. So the champion in each class isn't finding those bonus points. They're finding all the points in the races. Now, of course, the points that you get on offer, yes, there are 4 different classes out there this season, but all of the drivers are going to be getting the points from their overall race results, not their class race results, which means that amateur drivers need to fight with pro drivers around them because they're going to need those points. So, no points on offer today, of course. It's a pre-season. Drivers just getting used to it. And we are going to get down onto qualifying now because with most of these drivers that are out there tonight, not all of them, but most of them are signed up to take part in season number 10. It is very, very likely that we're going to be seeing some of the familiar names creep towards the front, and we're going to see what some of those newer names can do as well. I've got my stat tracking, as I always do. I've got the results from race number 1 written down, from round number 1 of preseason. Let's get the preseason 2 rounds written down as well, because that is going to really talk about how the championship might develop in the early stages of the season before we have a whole wide view. If you want to catch up with all of the races that were broadcasted by Joseph Wright Broadcasting in a quick highlight form, then you can head over to the Joseph Wright Broadcasting YouTube channel. And if you want to find out all the stats from season number 9, then head across to josephwrightbroadcasting.com/LSR-TCR and you can see all of the stats so far from season number 9, and then as we go into season 10, they'll be added on there as well, so you can keep up to date with all of that. Now, I'm a very stat person, which is why I hope some of you out there are as well. Qualifying has just begun, so we are going to get ourselves down onto the circuit here and see what is what as drivers head out of pit lane. As you can see, they don't have a nice, clean, empty racing surface to get their laps in. Oh, no, no, no. For the next 15 minutes of this session, they are going to have to find their way around other cars here. Yes, slipstream is going to be relatively helpful, but you've got a lot of heavy braking points, so you're not going to really want to be too close to the driver in front of you. And I think what's crucially important here is that we have got 37 drivers going out on a circuit that is just 2.2 miles long. There's only 11 corners around, 10 corners around this circuit, really. It does say 11 if you look at Hislop's chicane. Now, this circuit in itself is one of my favourites in the UK, and one of my favourite corner names as well, the Knickerbook corner, of course, after the Hislop chicane, turn number 6, and what a story there is behind that one. We'll get more into that after qualifying if I remember to. Now, we get in towards turn number 1. We are watching the defending overall and pro champion here. It is Dan Mould. Mould this season is going to be competing in the number 1 machine. He has the right to race in that number, of course, and he is going to be racing in the Mouldy Fies team alongside Stephen Fye. Stephen Fye stepping into season 9 towards the end of the championship, absolutely dominated the amateur class, so got moved up into the Pro-Am class pretty quickly after that one. He's stepping in alongside Dan Mould this season. He is out there today as well. There's so many names that I'm just missing a few of them as we go along. As we come out of Knickerbook there, that right-hander, and over the hill of Clay Hill. Surprisingly, even though it feels like it might be the tallest and highest point on the circuit, it is not the highest point on the circuit. That's Hilltop, which is just after the island hairpin. That's where you find the highest point on the circuit. Very undulating here. Now, Mould gets onto the brakes, turns in for turn number 9 of Lodge, and out of turn 10. Now, that is going to be an overtaking opportunity. You can do it on the inside or the outside, depending on how you want to get through there. But as we get some drivers over the timing line, let's see who is going to find their way to the top. And it is, in fact, Dan Mould who is going to be up there. At the very beginning of this session, 6 names on the board right now. We are going to go and have a look at Tom Stanley. Stanley here running around in the number 961 machine as he comes up now through turn number 1 and racing, as you can see, in an independent category. Now, he is chasing down the 167 just ahead of him. Now, that is going to be incredibly challenging to be that close. Now, it could pull you along, but it could hinder you on that parts of the circuit that you are feeling a little bit better as well. And it is Det Crowther of the 167 that sits just ahead. And you can see there's already some racing going along down here at the moment as well, with all of the space being needed. There's so many cars out there just trying to find an open gap to get in your qualifying lap is incredibly difficult. Luciana Espinera goes into second position right now ahead of Jaden Scotton. Scotton, teammates with a man who has so many teams on the grid. Jay Collet, he sits without a lap time to his name at the moment, but his teammate Jaden Scotton up there inside the top 5. Knocked out of the top 5 now, Adam Delmont and John Brown find their way to the very front there as Kim Borkland, a big name, he's down in 8th position right now after Thurtle goes purple and knocks Dan Mould down into second position as we head up towards turn number 1 with Tom Stanley there. Let's go see if we can see how other drivers are getting on. Here's Matt Neal. Neal not signed up to take part in the Season 10 Championship this season. He's just getting down behind the wheel. He does race on a Sunday TCRs as well, and he's quite a strong driver in that one, so we'll see how he can get in the mix here today. But for drivers out there that are looking to see how to race with others, they're not going to be too worried about Matt Neal tonight. Scott Malcolm, though, is going to head up towards the Hislop chicane. He's going to get on the brakes, currently 24th position in this session, as he's not been able to get in the fastest lap times under the Lumen Motorsports banner, as Malcolm trying to do well in previously as well, and has not been able to find his way all the way to the front all the time, but has had some decent results under his name. Now comes through turn number 8 of Druids and up towards Lodge once more. Now, of course, this under here Warwick Bridge is going to be a very big overtaking opportunity. As I said, you're going to see drivers in the race session move across the right hand side, defend that inside line. But I remember a race last year in the TCRs in a different championship, an outside line worked out in that one in a last lap fight, and it came out with that outside line being the better line. So it could go either way depending on how your braking goes and how you're able to feel your car through the corners. Of course, these cars all on fixed setups. The only thing that they can change is the brake bias once they're out there on the racing surface. And what that does mean is, first of all, you're never going to have to worry about fuel issues and running out of fuel. But what it also means is that everybody out there, the only difference really is the car that they are driving, and therefore the choice of car is going to be crucial for each of these drivers as the season progresses. And I know that the Honda that we see right now on the screen is by far the most popular choice of car in the TCRs. It's a very good all-round car, and it is very good at finding your way to the front. However, we have seen races where the Lancia, for example, is the stronger car, and that Lancia can pull you to the front. So we might see a bit of a mix-up there where those... Hello, hopefully we are back here. We do apologise for the momentary drop in the coverage, and we will get back straight into the very end of qualifying in just a moment's time here. That unfortunately we had a bit of a power cut over in the broadcasting booth here, which means that we actually lost out on all of the coverage there, but we are back, so that is good, and thank you for confirming there over in the chat that we are back online. We're just waiting for the software of iRacing to load in the background, and we will get straight back on it again and bring you the final minute or two here of the qualifying session. And it has been, like I said, it is an interesting and very, very close championship fight. Well, it's going to be a very, very close championship fight out there, because we've got 50 drivers, and with 4 classes, it means that we are going to be having to look in every which direction as the season continues. Now, we've got the first step of getting iRacing up for you in the background, so we will try our hardest to get that across to you right now. Luckily, it went out before the start of the race, and we'll keep our fingers crossed that it doesn't go out again during the races, as we just get our software all up and loaded everywhere and make sure that we are once again green. But we will get ourselves over onto the iRacing surface here as we try to get the last of things. There we go. The last of things all loaded up, and once we have got that, it means that we'll be able to get our live timing, like I said, right at the end of the session here, which means unfortunately we did miss out on the qualifying session, but no matter, we still have a little bit left to go. And whilst we're waiting, in fact, let's have a little bit of a look at the circuit that we're going to be racing at tonight then. The Oulton Park Island layout course, located in Little Budworth of Cheshire. Like I said earlier, the highest part of the circuit, surprisingly not at Clay Hill after Knickerbock, it's at Hilltop before Knickerbock, which is incredibly interesting. When you've tried the circuit itself, it feels like the undulation you do higher after the Knickerbock corner, but no, that is not the case. And as you can see, that very interesting story about the Knickerbock corner. They were doing some demolition work, knocking down some trees, and the men out there that were knocking down these trees, they decided to set off a charge to explode a little bit of the the tree stumps. And what that meant was it caused a couple that were in the brook to run away and scarper, leaving behind a pair of ladies' knickers, which is why it came the name of Knickerbrook Chicane. Now, qualifying has come to a close here, and it looks like we have got just enough time. It looks like we've got everything working that we can go across and show you the race grid here. Now, we haven't got all of my normal things working as I try to reload some of the stuff that I need in the background, but Jack Bolton will be starting this one from pole position. We said that he was fast. He's running independently here. He's going to be starting on pole ahead of Arthur Thurtle. Dan Mould is going to be starting in third position, and it looks like we do have, as always, something going on, and this time because of the crash, we do have some audio in the background that we obviously don't need any more, so we'll get those driving off. All the drivers wishing themselves good luck wishing each other good luck there. We then have Dan Mould starting in third ahead of Adam Delmont. John Brown is in fifth position ahead of Kim Borkland. Then in seventh we have Jaden Scotton ahead of Lucio Espinera. Then we have Anthony Lammer ahead of Marsden, Downing and Fry. Then we've got Jappa ahead of Hardy, Woodcock and Neal. Then it's Lewis, Gibbons, Lovesey, Stanley, Crowther, Cawley, Aylett, Malcolm, Vandenbroek, Brown, De Jong, Mail, Titchler, Walters, Saunders, Littler, Hurley, Henschel, London, Thomas Brown, and then Gonzalo Lavera at the rear. Right, we don't have custom cameras, unfortunately, for this one. We'll have to stick with the default ones and get the custom cameras loaded for race number 2, but we are preparing here. Oh, do you know what? We might have just enough time here. You're going to see some very unprofessional moment as we quickly load our custom cameras. So we have some good cameras on this one. Right, we're going to have some good cameras here as we prepare for race number 1. 20 minutes on the clock. Jack Bolton from pole ahead of Arthur Thurtle. They pull away from the starting line for the first race of the evening here at pre-season round number 2. Look how many cars are coming flying by the camera as we head up towards turn number 1. Drivers wide through turn 1 there, but for the most part, they have all kept themselves facing the right way. It is side by side for 4th position there. Dan Mould on the inside of Brown. Borkland gets up the inside as well, and we head down through the Cascades and up towards Island Bend now. We're going to get onto the brakes, and Bolton had a very good launch at the front as drivers are getting up towards the hairpin and trying not to get involved in any instance, but we do have a driver off, trying to avoid as much as possible, throwing it in the wall to try and get out of the way, but it still wasn't quite enough in that one, and drivers getting involved in accidents on the opening lap. It's to be expected with quite so many drivers here, but for the most part, at the front it started quite well. It looks like we might have just lost Anthony Lammer. Yeah, there he is in the gravel in the background there. As more cars go off as well as we come through, it looks like John Brown has gone off. It looks like Tom Woodcock is the driver going slowly through Druids as well. Someone else onto the grass. It has been a hectic start to race number 1 here as we get onto the brakes. It's side by side. This is down in about 15th position here, and we will get our timing tower up now so we can see what the order is like. A few meatball flags out there for some of the drivers, and they are going to have to find their way down pit lane and try this one again. Out front though, Arthur Thurtle holds on to second ahead of Delmont and Mould. Borkland has worked his way up into 5th position here. Daniel Downing all the way up into 8th ahead of Stephen Fry. That's good news for Fry. He's got a nice strong teammate. Molded off in the background. Who is that going around? It is Stuart Gibbons off the circuit there. A big slide. Ends up going around. Gets it all sorted out eventually though. And we'll get back onto the circuit. Now, this is watching Stephen Fry sitting right behind Daniel Downing here, looking like he could try and get up into 8th position if possible. Some changes towards the back of the field as well as Scott Malcolm comes down pit lane to sort out his meatball flag. This is Stephen Fry then, as I said, chasing down Daniel Downing, as Jeff Saunders may have had another issue on this lap as they try to settle themselves down. But for the most part now, we have found our cars going single file and looking like they are now just getting to grips with how this car drives, because a few of them having some issues on the early stages there. Jack Bolton goes purple as we see Declan Marsden come down pit lane. I'm not too sure why the Lumerous driver has come down pit lane there, because, oh, and he goes again. There's no penalty that's popped up on my screen. So that is interesting why that's happened. But here comes Dan Mould up the inside of Adam Delmont, through the island bend hairpin, up now across Hilltop. If he can keep it side by side as we go into his laps here, it could get a nice overtake. But Delmont has got good overlap getting up towards the braking point, holds it on the outside, it switches across now. It is to Delmont. Mould still right there, and as always, Mould cannot shake off Borkland. Borkland on the rear end once more as we go over the crest of Clay Hill. And like I said, it really does feel like the tallest part on the circuit. It is not, as we now come through Druids, a very common name on British racing circuits. There's a very famous one at Brands Hatch, of course. That is the one here at Oulton Park. Now up towards turn number 9 of Lodge, and this train at the front of the field continue to run around, but Delmont is a second off of Thurtle. Thurtle 0.8 of a second off of Jack Bolton. Bolton, of course, starting this one from P number 1 on the grid, showing that you don't need a team affiliation to be quick out there, and he is running the fastest of them all at the moment. Jaden Scotton, JC Academy Emerald machine. There's 3 JC Academies out there, so you're going to look at the colours of them as well. Scotton is running around, not at the back of this train. That's Espinera running around at the very rear of this train of drivers that goes all the way up to Delmont, and really not too far Thurtle and Bolton. You could consider that not out of reach of this championship, this race fight right now. 15 minutes still on the clock, as we've only gone 5 minutes so far in this race, as Daniel Lewis is looking to try and get past Andrew Lovesey, perhaps. Can't quite do it. There's a little bit of a move from Crowther on Woodcock just behind as well. Again, doesn't turn into anything as it stands, running around on the 4th lap of Asking right now. 14 laps expected here as the drivers continue to head around this racing track for the first time tonight. Matt Neal going off the circuit just up ahead, trying to chase down Daniel Downing. Like I say, Neal not racing in season number 10. He's just here to fill a space on the grid for the pre-season. Bolton did momentarily put in the purple lap. Adam Delmont decides he wants to go a little bit faster there, and he is closing the gap now towards Arthur Thurtle. And as expected, we can see those same names at the front: Thurtle, Delmont, Mould, Borkland. But new name, Jack Bolton up there. Jaden Scotton getting involved as well. And as I say, Luciano Espinera, he is trying to get involved at the back of this one as well. And we're going to ride on board with the Bike 500 driver in the number 54 machine. He's looking ahead as he comes out of the Island Bend hairpin and up towards his lots here. And you can see a nice gaggle of cars in front of him that he could try and make a move past. But he's going to have to sit behind for the time being. Just contemplate, where is he seeing the driver of Jaden Scotton potentially making some opening up some doors for Espinera as he heads over through Clay Hill and up towards Druids now, as drivers are going to continue fighting as Daniel Downing has found himself. Ooh, I mean, it looked like he picked up a meatball earlier on in that one. Was it potentially through the chicane? Because you tap those tyre barriers. Oh, I'm not too sure there, because it was a meatball flag that was picked up. I think he may have touched the tyre barrier coming in there, because he pulls over in the SRL purple machine and finds himself down pit lane. Now, we return towards this fight at the front at the moment, but as I say that, Jay Colley looking to try and get potentially up the order past Det Crowther here. This could be an opportunity for him in moving up into what would be a 13th place position as we head up now towards turn number 4 of the Island Bend hairpin, and that's really close there from Jay on the rear end, and he looks to get it on the exit. It's side by side ahead on the exit ahead of them as well, but they settle themselves down, as does this fight right now. A little bit of wobbling. Jay not sure if he wants to make that move or not, decides to stay behind the Blade Designs driver of Det Crowther through his lop chicane and out of Knickerbrook here. Keeping it perfectly inside the track there, not pushing over onto the grass at all, and it's very easy to do that and get yourself a slow exit. No slow exits for these drivers. Delmont has closed the gap up to Arthur Thirdle to 7/10 of a second. Bolton out front has pulled a 1.1 second gap right now to Bolton, looking to be clear as we reach the halfway point in this race at the end of what will be the 7th lap of asking, which these drivers here are heading on to. We will be at the halfway point in race number 1. Race number 2 is going to be the top 15 reverse. That number to be confirmed for the season number 10. Of course, with just so many drivers in the championship this year, 50 registered, it could be any order, as Borkland has found his way past Mould through the inside of the hairpin, and it looks like Mould now is going to be looking to try and get past Borkland. It's going to be side by side with Mould on the outside, Borkland on the inside. Are they going to leave each other enough room? Just about, and Dan Mould moves back into 4th position there. How did that happen in the first place? I'm trying to look here where that happened, and there's nothing telling me that they swapped positions in the first place, which is always excellent to see, because I wanted to catch up on that overtake, but I won't. We head up now towards Lodge though, and I thought Mould for a moment was going to go defensive. The rear end of Borkland just kicking out there as he got a bit heavy on the brakes than he probably wanted to. He does manage to hold it though. Of course, these cars, if your car starts to slide, you just put that bit of power into it. With it being a front wheel drive, you are going to find your car pulling its way back facing front again. This is what is now a 4-car fight for 4th position. Dan Mould 2.2 off of Adam Delmont. Delmont still trying to close the gap to Thurtle. Thurtle has closed that gap back to Bolton just a little bit once more as we go and look once again. Jay Cooley goes to try and get past Det Crowther, and it's a big moment on the grass, and he's going to be down a number of positions. Let's have another look at how that one played out. Cooley moves to the right-hand side of Crowther. It becomes the inside, but it's just a bit too much on the curbing. Luckily, Crowther holds it. Cooley finds his way onto the grass, keeps it out of the way as to not get anyone else on a rejoin there, and Jay Cooley will slowly have to find his way back onto the circuit, down in 19th position now for him, which is a shame. It was a potential opportunity that turned into not an opportunity. Daniel Downing still down pit lane with that meatball flag, so I don't think we will be seeing him out of the race at the end of this one. Now we come up towards the final 2 turns. Of course, it's so easy to say turn number 9 here is the final turn, and it is not. There is that small kink to the left through Deer Leap. That is turn number 10 and the last turn on the racing surface. Now 2.2 miles. It is a short lap. It is going quickly. 8 laps completed. We're going to see about another 7, I would say, as the drivers continue. No, 6, I would say, actually, as the drivers continue. Around 7.5 minutes left on the clock right now, and it is going to be this fight continuing on with Dan Mould at the front of the train. Delmont is down to 0.6 of a second behind him, but ahead of him, but he's not quite within overtaking opportunity of Thurtle. Thurtle has again also closed down on Jack Bolton at the front as well. Mark Draper gets past Ronald de Jong. De Jong running some new colours here. Out of what we're seeing in most of the series that de Jong races in, he's racing for Sim Racing Forces Norway this season of competition. So we'll be seeing him in a different paint scheme out there. Dan Mould coming through turn number 8 of Druids and heading up to Lodge. It is Borkland behind him right now. The front fight has closed a little bit here because it's 0.7 of a second between Bolton and Thurtle. About 0.8 between Thurtle and Delmont. That is your leading 3 drivers heading through turn number 1. Again, they're a bit too far apart to make anything work at the moment, but with 6.5 minutes still on the clock, anything could happen towards the front of this field as it stands. This is Carl Hardy in the result clothing machine. Through turn number 9, up towards turn number 10. He's chasing down Jack Brown. Looks to the left-hand side. There's a lot of Browns out there, so you got to know which ones we're looking at. This is Jack Brown. Of course, you've got John Brown as well. And then you get James Brown. I don't believe James racing tonight, though. But this is going to be Jack Brown ahead of Carl Hardy right now. This is the fight for what will be 20th position. That's Jay Cooley just up ahead in 19th position as well. Recovering from that earlier mistake and trying to do something in this race. But race 2 will probably be where we find him moving his way back up the order again. You can see it's not too far off of those ahead of him. You've got Torburn Mail in 18th position. That's Borkland's teammate last season, of course, not this season, which is going to be something I need to remember. Torburn Mail teammating with Vigard Olsen Lear this season, season 10, in the Sim Racing Norway Amateur Endurance team. Whereas Kim Borkland is partnered with Ronald de Jong in the Sim Racing Forces Norway. So both of them under the Norway banners, of course, but under different team titles. Just to keep you up to date on the teams, because they're going to be something that we're going to need to learn. As actually looking there, Jack Brown has some major front end damage to his machine, running in the Next Gen Racing Green team. He is got some major damage on the front end of his machine here. He has moved up 6 positions in this race as it stands, so he has done a very good job to get where he is at the moment, but that damage is definitely going to be slowing him down a bit in that one. Now, it's Jaden Scotton. He's still in this fight, being led by Dan Mould, chased by Borkland, then it's Scotton in the 86 machine, and Espinera behind in the number 54 machine. As we come out of Hislops through Knickerbrook and up along Clay Hill now. They've opened themselves up just a little bit. Someone who has decided not to open themselves up, Adam Delmont, down now to 0.4 of a second to Arthur Thurtle. Coming up to 3 laps to go. Does he fight Thurtle for second and potentially let Jack Bolton pull away? Or does he try to go for working with Thurtle, go for a last lap double pass perhaps? It's going to be something that he is going to be thinking about as we ride on board with Adam Delmont. How is he going to do this here? Is he thinking about the individual position over Arthur Thurtle or the race spin ahead of Jack Bolton? Of course, no points on offer tonight. It's the second and final pre-season of season number 10. We go for points next Friday, starting at 9:15 GMT on the SRLTV YouTube channel and the Joseph Wright TV Twitch channel as we kick off the season at Jerez. It's going to be an absolutely great evening of racing. Onto the brakes goes Adam Delmont behind Arthur Thurtle here. About 2.5 between them. Thurtle down a little bit again to Jack Bolton, who has led from pole out front here. Are we going to see anyone else take the fastest lap off of Adam Delmont? He has been flying. A 27.634 is his fastest official recorded lap time. Last lap was faster by a whole 10th, but it was an invalid lap, pushing hard and getting an off track in the process of how hard he is pushing here. Now, of course, Not like the officials, the off-tracks do lead to penalties if you abuse the instant count too much, but of course you can use them just sparingly, tactically, to try and make your move. Is that what Adam Delmont is going to do here? Chasing down Arthur Thirdle. Are we going to see a move? For second position, we do! Adam Delmont dives at the inside of Arthur Thirdle through Cascades and makes a very easy move. When I say the fight could have potentially allowed Bolton to pull away, Delmont said, no, thank you. I will take that position and keep a gap to Bolton of just 1.1 seconds. It will most likely be, in fact, it will be white flag next lap, which means Delmont has a lot to do if he wants to win this one. But what a flying move that Delmont was just able to complete to move into second position and potentially now take second in race number 1 of the day as Chris London moves past Jeff Saunders. Saunders slips around and they have a little bit of a fight between themselves towards the back there. It looks like it might actually be some of that timing issue that needs to be fixed that was broken in the crash. I said that I changed a few of the iRacing settings and none of them saved because the game crashed and I didn't quit. So Delmont though running in second. The white flag was out there. We saw it being frantically waved along the pit straight. Jack Bolton continues to lead the way here. Dan Mould and Borkland have massively separated. Mould has pulled a 2-second lead over Borkland. Borkland still under attack from Scotton and Espinera here. We'll be looking to potentially try and make a last-ditch move here on the final lap of the race. Espinera looks to the inside and he goes for it! And he gets to the inside of Jaden Scotton. There's just enough room between them as they run side by side. Scotton gets the speed on the exit. Espinera sticks to the right-hand side as they go over Hilltop. But will he have to back out for his lap? Yes, he will. Jaden Scotton gets through the corner without Espinera on his inside. But Jack Bolton, running in an independent team this season, somebody might want to snatch him up quickly for the championship. Because Jack Bolton is going to come around turn number 9 of Lodge and go up Deer Leap to win the first race of the day from pole position. Jack Bolton wins. Adam Delmont comes in second ahead of Arthur Thirdle. Is Scotton going to be able to hold it over Espinera? He certainly does. And Ronald de Jong leads a huge train, including his team from last season, Demis Titchler, running in the Hydra Force, which is what de Jong raced in last season. You can see the combination of the two liveries as de Jong comes across the line. Is he going to be able to hold over Titchler? He does, as Mail gets past Draper. No, yes, on the line, he certainly does. Torben Mail gets 17th ahead of Draper. Jay Corley comes over 19th. Didn't lose any more positions after his earlier mistake in the race, but it was a win from Jack Bolton in his first pre-season event of the season, and it was the fastest lap going the way in the end of Adam Delmont. Only just so less than a few tenths of, well, less than a few hundredths of a second there in that one, but a win for Jack Bolton and a fastest lap in that one for Adam Delmont. What a result. And before we get on to race number 2, let's have a quick look at the results of that one as Jack Bolton led the way all the way to the end ahead of Adam Delmont. Arthur Thirdle came home in 3rd position ahead of Dan Mould. Kim Borkland came home in 5th in the end. Jaden Scotton holding on to 6th ahead of Luciano Espinera. Stephen Fry coming home in 8th ahead of Matt Neal. And Andrew Lovesey came home in that one in 10th position. 11th position went the way of Daniel Lewis. 12th position was for Tom Woodcock ahead of Dec Crowther. Kev Aylett came home in 14th. Ronald de Jong came home in 15th position, just ahead of Demis Titchler. We saw that overtake at the very end there for Torburn Mail, getting past Mark Draper through the final two corners. Jay Corley coming home in 19th, and Jack Brown rounding out the top 20. Carl Hardy came home in 21st, ahead of Tom Stanley. Andy Littler in 23rd position. 24th position went to Chris London, ahead of Jess Saunders. Craig Walters came home in 26th, ahead of Lucas Henschel. Paul Hurley came home in 28th, ahead of John Brown. Chesney Vandenbroek came home in 30th position. Scott Malcolm came home in 31st, and a lap down out of the race early doors was Daniel Downing, Declan Marsden, Stuart Gibbons, Anthony Lammer, Thomas Brown, and Gonzalo Lovera. We are preparing then for the second race of the day, and as we do that, we will see if we can get a word with some people here as we get across into the broadcasting booth. As, like I said, with the crashing, with the power cut, I've lost absolutely everything there. And I'm going to see who is around for us to pull down and have a quick word with at the end of that one. As we are going to see driver. I'm trying to work out who's available that we saw fight a little bit there. And I don't think actually we did see much fighting. Actually, we saw Adam Delmont there, and it looks like I'm not broadcasting at the moment. So we will might not be able to have a word with anyone. It looks like we are not going to be able to have a word with anything because nothing is working, unfortunately, on that one. Let's see if we can quickly fix that because we've got a couple of minutes to do so out of race number 1. We will prepare for race number 2, and it looks like I may have just fixed the issue because I am incredible like that. Let's see if I can pull someone down. Like I said, I don't seem to have the permissions to do that. In this one, I do not. So I'll just quickly throw a quick message. For that one. So, right, looks like we won't be able to talk to anyone after that one. Look at that. All of that work for nothing because I don't have the permissions to pull. So we'll prepare ourselves for race number 2 then, which will start in a few moments' time. But race number 1, what a great one to do on that one. And it looks like, I think that for the most part, everything fixed now on our side as well. So for the second time this evening, and hopefully no power cut following, touching absolutely everything there. Welcome back to the broadcast booth here at Joseph Wright Broadcasting, part of SRLTV, as we look ahead to race number 2. Like I said, stats are a big thing for me, and looking back at the stats from season 9, the race 1 winner, it's not frequent you'll see them find their way back to the front. In fact, it is one of the rarest things you'll do. The reverse grid really does put other drivers in with a chance of winning a race. What we also saw, it only happened once, but in season number 9, the pros did not win every single race. One of those races was won by a Pro-Am driver who was able to use the inverted grid to his benefit. Now, of course, there's a driver who didn't need the inverted grid to fight up with the pros. If we think back to Sebring last season with Kev Aylett, who was up there at the front fighting around. But let's see if something like that happens. Of course, no classes tonight. We won't see the classes confirmed until the 4th round of competition. But as the warm-up comes to a close here, if you like what you are watching and you don't want to miss any of the upcoming races, because we kick off the championship next Friday. Make sure if you're watching over on the YouTube, you've hit that subscribe button so you're notified when we go live. Show your support as well. Give that a little bit of a thumbs up. And if you're over on the Twitch as well, hit that follow button so you'll be notified whenever we go live, not just for the SRL TCRs, but all the other events that we broadcast as well. Now, let's get down onto the track then for race number 2. It is the longer race of the 2, 25 minutes of racing action with an inverted field as well. So let's get ourselves down there and see who's going to be starting this one at the very front and where our race 1 winner is going to have to start this one from. They are getting themselves down onto the grid here, so it is time for us to get our grid up as well. Ronald de Jong will be starting this one from the front of the field ahead of Kev Aylett. Dec Crowther will be starting in 3rd position ahead of Tom Woodcock. Daniel Lewis will be starting in 5th ahead of Andrew Lovesey. Matt Neal in 7th position ahead of Stephen Fry. Luciano Espinera will be starting in 9th ahead of Jaden Scotton. Kim Andre Borkland will be starting in 11th position ahead of Dan Mould. Arthur Thurder will be starting in 13th ahead of Adam Delmont. And our race 1 winner, Jack Bolton, he starts in 15th position at the rear of the inverted grid. Demis Titchler will be starting in 16th ahead of Torburn Mail. 18th will go the way of Mark Draper. Jay Cooley will start on 19th position, and we will have to call it quits there on the championship standings because we are going to, on the grid, sorry, because we are going to get 25 minutes on, and we are green. Ronald de Jong away from the front of the field. Kev Aylett from 2nd position as we get started here, and it looks like I'm pressing all loads of buttons and everything's going wrong, and we're not going to be able to see anything as we go up towards turn number 1. Oh my word, let's get the TV to display what we want it to display up towards turn number 3 of Cascades now. It's side by side behind, a little bit of a nudge and an argy-bargy there. The number 3 of Andrew Lovesey trying to do something towards the front here, but Ronald de Jong has held on at the front of this field ahead of Kev Aylett. We know Aylett can find his way towards the front. And can he do that here? There's contact behind, as that was Daniel Lewis. Contact there with, I believe, Matt Neal on the inside as they come out of the hairpin. It is side by side for the lead, and Kev Aylett finds his way into the front of this field. There's a huge wreck behind as we go 2 by 2 by 2 by 2 by 2 by 2 through the Hislop chicanes out of Knickerbrook, and we will get back to have a look. I believe it was Woodcock who has gone around going in to the Hislop chicane. Side by side here, Matt Neal ahead of Jaden Scotton. Scotton looks to the inside. It's side by side behind as well with Dan Mould looking to try and get around the outside of Espinera here as we head up towards turn number 9. It not settled themselves down, but most drivers have managed to keep it on the racing surface as it stands. Still side by side, Matt Neal off again, and drivers just diving to the glass to get through, and somehow, some way, they all get through without issue. And down pit lane, we see another driver coming down pit lane, and that was Jack Bolton, because Jack Bolton received a black flag for a jump start on the opening lap of this race, which is a shame, and another huge wreck behind there as we come down the hill through the Cascades. Carl Hardy, one of those off, and it is a parking lot, an absolute parking lot through the Cascades there as drivers settle themselves down on the exit of that one. A number of cars now down pit lane with penalties, with black flags, with meatball flags. It is not the way they wanted race number 2 to go. It is the way that Kev Aylett wanted race number 2 to go. He leads the way ahead of Ronald de Jong. Dec Crowther is in 3rd ahead of Daniel Lewis. Stephen Fry is in 5th. Dan Mould has made his way up into 7th position as it stands. Now, it looks like, as most of them have sorted themselves out there, let's see if we can just very quickly here jump back and see what happened in the fight there. But before we do, Demis Titchler looking to try and get past Arthur Thurdle through the final turn. It doesn't look like it will happen there. Oh, look at that one. We caught it right at the very end there. Woodcock's on the right-hand side of the racing surface. And it's just they both come to the centre, don't they? Both drivers come to the centre in that one. That's what caused that position to change. And then let's see if we can catch that big old pile up if we're able to. Where did that one happen here? As it looks like Lucas Henschel potentially involved in that one. It looks like we might not actually be able to catch that one. No, looks like we won't be able to catch what happened in that accident, which is a shame, that big one down the hill. But we'll go back towards the leading drivers now as Dan Mould is at the front of some side-by-side action here as Espinera gets past Lovesey. And here comes Portland as well to try and get past Lovesey. Lovesey was involved in that incident with Woodcock on the opening lap, and through goes Adam Delmont pushing Portland through as well. And that is going to be Andrew Lovesey down a number of positions in that one moment on that course there. Jay Collet here looks to try and get past Titchler. It looks like he's going to be able to make that move up the inside. It's side by side between Jay and Demis here, but Demis runs out wide and will now be under attack from Declan Marsden as they come up towards the timing line. In fact, he's done that, and now John Brown looks to try and get the inside up towards turn number 1, but Titchler holds the speed and will carry it around on the outside line there. Dan Mould, the purple at the moment, but as the timer clicks to 20 minutes, we are now into the length of race number 1, and my word, it has been a very eventful start to this lap. We go side by side behind, as it was Adam Delmont trying to get around the outside of Portland, pushes it a bit too wide off the circuit there, and it looks like there could potentially be an overtaking opportunity for second in this one. Dec Crowther now looking to try and get past Ronald de Jong in the fight for second position. Kev Eilert has moved into the lead and is just blitzing away at the front of the field at the moment, which is exactly what he needs. But de Jong is the start of a train of drivers that goes all the way down to 14th position. Titchler is side by side once more with John Brown. John Brown is going to have the inside line through Druitt, and around goes Titchler. Was there contact? Was it just a mistake there? There was definite contact in that one, and we'll see if we can get it from a higher point of view. It looks like we're not going to really see it. Oh, it's just that slight tap behind the scenes there, and that's a real shame for Titchler, who falls down to 20th position in that one. Adam Delmont looking to continue to move up the order. He's in 9th, sitting behind Kim Borkland right now in 8th position. Dan Mould still in 6th, looking to try and close up ahead of him, but you can see this huge line of drivers right now up towards the hairpin, and that is Arthur Thurtle looking at a potential move up the inside of Matt Neal. It won't turn into anything through the hairpin though for Thurtle, and it's not been a pre-season to really remember, but he is getting used to the car once more, and it'll help him out when we go back racing at round number 1 next Friday at 9:15 GMT. Of course, you can catch it live on the Twitch and the YouTube as well, as this is the fight for the second position. Continue on. Crowther's up the end of de Jong, just looking to try and find a space. It looks like he's going to get it on the exit though. Stephen Fry watching from behind as Dec Crowther moves to the inside and will go side by side here with de Jong as they come out of the final turn. And over the timing line, Dec Crowther moves up into second. De Jong, though, doesn't want that to be the end of that. He looks to the inside of turn 1. It won't be anything through Old Hall Corner. But Stephen Fry is now looking ahead, thinking, okay, I could potentially do something here. Espinera, definitely wants to do something on Daniel Lewis as Delmont gets to the inside of Portland, out of Cascades, up towards the hairpin now. It is going to be side by side once again with Delmont on the outside. He's tried this before. He ran wide on the exit. He's going to keep it tighter this time. Portland did not want him there, though. A little bit of argy-bargy between them. But Delmont has been able to hold on the outside line this time. They continue to run side by side, and they continue to do so through his slots, heading up to Knickerbock now. It is going to be side by side. Portland on the inside, Delmont on the outside, and somehow they are still side by side out of Knickerbock over Clay Hill, and Adam Delmont moves up into 8th position past Kim Borkland And Andrew Lovesey will be looking at that, thinking there could potentially be something here. After Thirdle has also just made a move on Matt Neal behind as well. As Cooley looks to the inside of Neal through turn number 9 and now up through Deer Leap. He's going to be stuck on that outside of the kink, but can he keep it side by side for turn number 1? He doesn't, and he could be under attack now from Declan Marsden. He doesn't. Jay does stay ahead onto the grass. Just up ahead was Arthur Thurtle, and here comes Marsden with Jay running slightly wide on the exit in turn number 1. They come down Cascades now, and it is going to be Corley on the inside line. He holds it ahead of Declan Marsden and does make that position stick for now up towards the braking zone, and will hold on to 13th position. It has been 6th position gain from the start of this one for Jay Cooley, who obviously finished race number 1 in 19th after some issues, but the driver behind him, Declan Marsden, is up 19 positions after retiring race number 1. So he is on an absolute charge in this one. Talk about driver on an absolute charge. Kev Ayler is just at the front of this field, putting in the laps. Not purple, but enough to just pull and pull and pull away from those behind. As it is going to continue to be a fight, and this is now going to be side by side with Espadera up the inside of Daniel Lewis through Lodge. Gets that move, and Adam Delmont is going to follow Espadera through. Looks like Delmont now could potentially try and go to the inside of Espadera as well as we head up towards turn number 1, and he does. But there's going to be contact, and Adam Delmont on a recovery drive on the reverse grid is back down the order and is out here after contact with Espadera. Dan Mould fighting to try and to get past Stephen Fry, his teammate. These two are racing both for Mouldy Fries here through the hairpin. They've got De Jong ahead. Are they going to fight? Are they going to work together as we head up towards Hislop chicane? Dan Mould looks to the inside and decides, yeah, I'm just going to have this position if you don't mind. And he gets past his teammate. Stephen Fry down to 5th, and Mould now looking to try and pull on to the podium. Now, let's see if we can find that accident from the start of this lap. But before we do, Fry's coming back at Mould there. Had a really good amount of speed, and actually Mould could really go for this one as he heads up now towards the end of the lap. Do they sort themselves out? They certainly do. And let's have another quick look at what happened to Adam Delmont. Delmont runs deep. Oh, see, that's an interesting one, because Delmont has certainly run deep into that corner. That's why there's the initial contact. But the 54 of Espadera does not stop turning. I'm going to have to call that one a racing incident. The whole thing is said and done on that one. But again, anything that I say in the commentary booth is from a very quick look at the cameras. So you can't say for certain that what I'm calling is correct. And I do make a lot of mistakes with my calls, and I don't ever do it to offend anyone. Side by side with Borkland on the outside of Lewis. It was Lovesey getting up the inside of Thurtle just behind as well. And Dan Mould looking to get the speed on the exit up towards Hislops. Could Dan Mould move onto the podium past Ronald de Jong? He certainly does. It settles down behind, but Lovesey does not want to settle it down. Contact with Espadera, and it is Espadera is going to have to try and hold it side by side, and through goes Andrew Lovesey. For now, it is a gaggle of cars just behind, and one of those involved in this one is to recover Jake Cooley, hoping for a better race number 2 here as we head up towards 10 minutes to go. When they come across the timing line, they would have completed 9 laps, 8 more laps in the race. We're just over halfway done, and it has been non-stop action as it stands, as Stephen Fry makes a way past. There's contact behind, and Matt Neal is the car sideways and will jump straight down back pit lane with a black flag. Let's see how that one occurred as we just jumped on forwards. Neil goes deep. Cooley goes to the inside. It's just a nudge. Somehow, some way, it stays relatively clean out of that one. But Jay, who's that off the circuit in the background there? That was... Was that Jay Cooley? That was. It was Jay off the circuit there, down on the exit of Cascades. No, it wasn't. It was Declan Marsden. Marsden off the circuit in the front of this gaggle of cars, the 3 cars here, and it looks like Espadilla just up ahead, looking to try and get past Lovesy up the inside. Can't do anything with that one. Has to back out of it for now as they come through Hislop chicane and now through Knickerbrook on the exit, and it looks like they have settled themselves down there for the time being. Not in the background though, because once again they go side by side, and Jay Cooley gets past Declan Marsden, as did John Brown. So something happened to Marsden at that point, and let's see if we can catch up what happened at that point. As it is going to be Marsden ahead, of course, and he pulls over to the side. Potential slowdown, an issue maybe. Not too sure for Marsden, but he had to back out of that one and give up the position that he was going on, as De Jong starting on pole position on this one in race number 2 on the invert, down to 7th right now as it stands, as Arthur Thurdle has just got past. Thurdle now trying to fight with Borkland if possible. This will be for a top 5 in this race. We come to just under 10 minutes to go now. Thurdle having a little bit of a look on the wider line, then obviously settling down as the hairpin comes around, but it's continuing to fight behind as well, side by side with Litzler on the inside of Titchler, down through Cascades. But as we go up to Island Bend here, Titchler's going to have the inside, and Malcolm's going to try and get through, but there's contact. Around goes Titchler for a second time tonight, and Littler is down the order. How did that one all play out as Littler spins Paul Hurley? That was Titchler turning across on Littler, that was for sure. But what happened here? And that was Littler just moving across to the right. The first one certainly not Littler's fault, but the second one, Littler just moved across to the right. And, oh, that is a real shame. Issues up and down the field as it stands right now. Deck Crowther under attack from defending overall and pro champion Dan Mould. He is hunting down a second place in this one, and if he gets past Deck Crowther, he could catch up and get past Kev Ayler here. He's been putting in the purples this race, and he looks to the inside. Crowther does not go uber defensive. Let's Dan Mould through. Mould up to second position now. Crowther down to third, and it is Dan Mould, the number 1 machine, who is going to be hunting down Kev Aylett through the Hislop chicane and up towards Knickerbrook now, as a change in position as Espanera gets past Ronald de Jong, as Lovesy has also made that position past de Jong as well, who continues to just slip the wrong way down the field in this race. But of course the inverted grid putting him up a lot higher than he was in race number 1, getting 15th in race number 1, so he's still doing better than that result. As we head up now towards turn number 9 of Lodge, it's a little bit of weaving, a little bit of ducking. Is that going to be to the inside from John Brown? It looked like it might have been, but Brown not able to get the speed through the corner. Could get the speed on the exit here as they run side by side, and pulling out that way as Jay Cooley trying to get up the inside, but sticking behind. John Brown though backs out of it as De Jong carries the speed, and here comes Jay Cooley. Can he do something? Declan Marsden just behind as well. Can see this fight going on, but no overtaking opportunities as it stands for each of them. Could there be something? Up towards the hairpin as we go to hammer on the brakes here in the TCRs. Everyone just running through nice and sensibly for now. Marsden's rear end just kicking out a little bit there, and it allowed him to get through that corner nice and comfortably. as Dan Mould has already closed the gap to Kev Aylett to just half a second. Now, he hasn't pulled significantly away from Crowther. He has pulled a second, but I do believe that Aylett has had a couple of mistakes there. Maybe the pressure of seeing Mould's name appear behind him on the relative has caused him to make a couple of mistakes. But here goes the defending champion. Can't quite make the move under Warwick Bridge. Could he make the move up towards Lodge there as Aylett goes defensive into turn 9. Now, it's about the speed on the exit of Deer Leap as they go up towards turn number 1. Dan Mould looks to the inside, doesn't do anything, weaving behind, trying to decide which way he wants to go. Aylett's going to defend on the inside. Mould is going to go on the outside. It's going to give him the speed here, and they are going to run side by side as they come through Denton's and up towards Cascades. Mould on the outside, but it is Dan Mould to the lead, and this has allowed Det Crowther to get right onto the rear as Aylett looks to get back through to the inside of Dan Mould. Has to back out of it, but Mould goes deep now, and it is going to give Kev Aylett speed on the exit. As we head up towards turn 5 of Hislops, Dan Mould goes defensive. Aylett to the racing line, Crowther just behind, and Mould's new teammate Stephen Fry sitting in 4th, just at the rear of this train. I mean, you've got Borkland and Birdle involved in this one as well, so this could be a potential 6-way fight for the lead, or Mould could take all of the opportunity that's presented to him now and just pull away out front as Crowther looked for a moment to get past Aylett, running a bit wider than he probably would have hoped for. Doesn't open up any doors. Could open up a door for Stephen Fry. Behind though is Aylett now. Goes defensive once more to the inside with Crowther behind. That's flashing lights there from Andrew Lovesey on Daniel Lewis in their fight between 7th and 8th position. Across the timing line, Dan Mould leads the way with 4 laps to go. No, 3 laps to go, I should say. And Kev Aylett did a great job to move into the lead and pull out that gap at the front, but it is now going to be about holding on to 2nd position. What can Thurtle and Borkland do in this? They were championship contenders in season number 9. They were certainly showing the speed there. They're showing the speed again today. Can they find their way past Fry, Crowther and Aylett, potentially see the 3 drivers back on the podium once more? Thurtle are wide on the exit of Island Hairpin and on across through Hilltop. Thurtle looks to the inside of Borkland, way too far back, just wanting to be a presence in the mirror, and there's contact up ahead, and that's going to be Stephen Fry off the circuit, bumping the rear end of Crowther and then clipping the inside tyre barrier. It is an immediate suspension damage fault there for Stephen Fry, and he knew it, having to back out of that fight and pulling out of the race here on the 15th lap of asking. We head up now towards Lodge once more, and it is going to be Borkland to the inside of Det Crowther, and Kim Borkland moves through into 3rd position, and here comes Arthur Thurtle to the inside of turn number 1. They're going to run side by side through Old corner. A little bit of a nudge, another nudge there, but Thurtle gets past Det Crowther. Crowther down to 5th position. Thurtle up to 4th. Borkland into 3rd. It is 1.3 seconds up to Kev Aylett with 2 laps to go in this one. This continues to be where the majority of the flights present themselves. However, De Jong still under attack from Marsden and Cooley behind. Holding on to a top 10 in this one, but can Marsden get the exit out of the Island Hairpin? He certainly does, and it is going to be side by side up towards Hislop now with Marsden to the inside of De Jong. De Jong has to let it through. Cooley has to slam on his brakes to not rear end De Jong there, and they go through and make the overtake there for Marsden into a top 10. Can Jay Cooley find his way up into 11th position here? Start this one in 19th where we finished race number 1. It'll be white flag next time around, and Cooley here all over the rear end of Ronald De Jong. as we head up towards the final 2 corners now. The main overtaking opportunity will be on this braking zone through Lodge. It won't present itself right now as Arthur Thurtle has swapped positions with Kim Borkland. This is how that happened going up towards the final lap, and it looks like it's been a mistake from Borkland. It's a slide from Borkland. He manages to hold it, but that is just going to give Thurtle the speed. He looks to the inside of Lodge, and that is going to be his move completed. This is the last lap of the race then, and it means that Borkland is now behind Arthur Thurtle as we go through. Dan Mould leading the way. Kev Aylett holding on to second position in this one. Thurtle in third ahead of Kim Borkland. Deck Crowther's just behind, not giving up an opportunity of being on a podium just yet. How is this going to play out though, as the white flag is in the air and they only have about 4 corners left to go to try and find their way through any position possible. Can Borkland do it here? Running in 4th position right now. Can he find his way back into 3rd? He keeps it facing the right way this time through Druids, where he slid last lap and lost that position. But it is going to be the order on the board. Dan Mould is going to win. He didn't win at pre-season 1, but the defending champion will take the victory here at pre-season 2 with the fastest lap to boot as well, which will be exactly what he needs. It comes through across the line as Jay Cooley gets Ronald de Jong on the line. Let's just have a look at how that was able to be made. As we go through Lodge, it's slow from de Jong, it's speed from Cooley on the exit, and up to 11th position for the number 89 machine. Dan Mould at the very front though has taken victory for another time in the SRL TCR League. This time it's season 10, the pre-season. It's good news for the defending champion as we head towards the opening round of the championship next Friday. Results then after the second race of the day. Dan Mould won by 2 seconds ahead of Kev Aylett. Arthur Thurtle coming home in 3rd ahead of Kim Borkland. Deck Crowther coming home in 5th ahead of Daniel Lewis. Andrew Lovesey in 7th position. Luciano Espinera came home in 8th with John Brown in 9th. And Declan Marsden rounding out the top 10. 11th went the way of Jay Cooley ahead of Ronald de Jong. Daniel Downing took home 13th ahead of Tom Stanley. Chesney Vandenbroek took home 15th position ahead of Scott Malcolm. Jeff Saunders in 17th. Andy Littler came home in 18th ahead of Jack Brown. And Jack Bolton came home in 20th position after having that first lap penalty for a jump start, recovering to finish inside the top 20 in the end. Demis Titcherer came home in 21st ahead of Lucas Henschel. Tom Woodcock came home 23rd ahead of Torburn Mail. Paul Hurley, Stephen Fry, Chris London, all a lap down in the end. And out of the race, Mark Draper, Matt Neal, Adam Dalmont, Craig Walters, Anthony Lambert, Jaden Scotton, and Carl Hardy. What a great evening of racing though, and it was nice to see the team colours, the team names out there, and really just absolutely some excellent racing as always. And let's see if we can pull across the first man into the broadcast booth here is a man that took the victory in the second race of the day, and exactly what the defending champion would have needed. Dan, what a race number 2 that was. You really worked your way through the field.
I think there's a lot of luck on my side there, Joe. I'm not going to lie, should I say. It was hairy, that first lap. But yeah, I think a lot of luck. But as I said on my stream, surrounded by amazing drivers, you just have the confidence of racing side by side with them. So that was a major factor in getting through that, especially that first lap. But yeah, I'm happy with that. Come out with 2 X's as well, which is good, and they were off tracks. So yeah, very happy with that one.
I'd say it was a very, very strong race for you coming through the field. You say that it was about a lot of luck there. I mean, it was a bit of luck, but also you did show some really good pace. You got the fastest lap in that one as well, which showed that you did have the pace. So I think that to say it was just luck is certainly not the case. You really showed the pace, and it means that going into round number 1 next week, are you feeling confident? You've still got that pace. You know what you're doing there.
I've got confidence, but I mean, you've seen the driver lineup now. We've got some absolutely amazing races in there. Not just fast as well. I've always said you haven't got to be fast to be a good racer, but the top end of the field, it's going to be very competitive. As you saw in race 1, there was just everyone was on the same pace. I think the top 4, the fastest laps they were all 1:27.6s. You know, so they're separated by thousandths of a second. So it's gonna be tough. I think it's just gonna be a case of being patient and trying to hold your position where you can, taking opportunities if they arise. But I think the second race is the one. If you can wait your way through the field as I did tonight, I think you're in for a good chance of scoring some good points throughout the season.
Well, a nice way to start the season in the preseason to take that victory then. And good luck. And I'm sure we'll be talking to you throughout season number 10 as you look to defend your championship from last season.
Thanks, mate.
There you go. Dan Mould there winning race number 2. And we'll pick up on Dan's teammate, actually, and we'll go across to Stephen Fry, who had what was looking to be a very good race number 2 for you, Stephen, but it ended up not quite going the way you wanted. A little bit of a nudge, and then into the tyre wall, broken suspension.
Yeah, it didn't go quite planned, did it?
But let's talk about the racing going before that, though, because you were up there. You were really showing pace. Of course, you came into the season late on in season 9. You were in the amateur class. You got promoted straight up to the Pro-Ams. You're showing the pace once again. Are you confident this season?
No, not really. To be honest, there's a lot of fast guys in here, and I'm just trying to pick my way in, avoid the incidents, and hope for the best, really. I don't expect too much, to be honest.
I'm actually surprised to hear that from you there, because I feel like you were once again another driver that was showing really good pace out there. Of course, avoiding incidents is key. You did find yourself, obviously, as we say, into the tyre wall, which knocked you down. Yeah. But I think that now is that time to make the mistake, isn't it? Pre-season, we head into the first round next week. How are you feeling about the Jerez circuit? It's a very, very different beast to the Oulton Park one.
Yeah, it is. It's one I've got to learn, so I'll be putting the laps in during the week and, again, hope for the best. Just try and keep it clean, really.
For a moment in that race, I saw you obviously you were with your teammate, Dan Mould, out there on the track. I thought you were going to work together a little bit, but you were straight away fighting. Are we expecting to see the fights continue this season?
Yeah, I'm not going to let him by.
Excellent. Good to hear.
I would have raced.
I'd really like to hear that, Stephen. And well, good luck for this season, and we'll see which class you get placed into. But you say you're not feeling confident. We'll see how you get on. I'm sure we'll be talking to you a bit more.
Yeah. Thank you.
Stephen Fry there, coming home in 27th lap down in the end after a little bit of contact. Would have wanted a bit better if possible, but wasn't able to do it just at the end. And a driver who had not the end of season number 9 that he would have wanted, but a nice start to season 10 here in the pre-season. Arthur Thurtle, you're coming home. A fight all race long with Kim Borkland, but you came home on the podium.
Yeah, I was quite surprised because start of lap 2, I got knocked out wide on turn 1 and got a slowdown and got damage as well. So yeah, I'll take P3 after that.
Yeah, that's an incredibly great recovery then after a little bit of contact and slowdown. We missed that on the broadcast. It's a nice way to start this season, though. Of course, pre-season, no points on offer. It means that it's a great place to learn. How are you feeling going into this season? Do you think that you can step it to Dan Mould, try and fight for that championship this season?
It all depends on how the reverse grid races go. Last season and last year, I didn't often get a good race 2. So we'll see if I can pick my way through the traffic a bit cleaner and stay on track. I'll give it my best go. I'll Yeah, I'll stick with the Veloster. I won't follow everyone else to the Honda. And yeah, we'll see.
And say the Honda looking like a popular car here. Was that a decision that you made to stick to Veloster? It was one that you were comfortable, or did you just not want to follow go with the status quo? You wanted to just stick with the car that you've been driving for a little while now.
Yeah, I just don't want to follow everyone else. If it was a case of the Veloster was the fastest one, then I'd probably be in something else.
Well, there you go then.
It's like the challenge.
That's good to hear, and hopefully it'll be a challenging season for you. We kick off next Friday, of course. And how are you feeling about the Jerez circuit? It's very, very different to the Oulton Park one.
Which circuit is it?
Jerez. The Spanish circuit.
I don't know if I've even raced there.
It's one that I'm going to have to pick up myself, actually. It is one that I've not done on the iRacing service either. So it is one that is going to be interesting to learn.
Yeah, pass. Don't know.
Right, it'll be interesting. I'll see if we can have a word with you potentially before the start of qualifying next week then, and see how you're feeling after a few laps on the track.
Yeah, pull me in whenever you want.
Right, have a good one then, Arthur. We're sure to speak to you throughout the season once more.
Thank you very much, and Happy New Year to you.
You as well, Arthur. There we go. Arthur Thurtle coming home. Third position in that final race of the day. And let's have a little look once more. We'll catch one more driver to talk to, and the last driver that we will be pulling in across to the booth. The man who started the final race of the day on first position in the inverted field, doing his absolute best to try and keep everyone behind. And it was a race-long fight for you, Ronald.
Yeah. But this circuit does not like the Elantra, or the other way around. The hairpin. It's so slow through there, and
yeah, the Elantra certainly not looking like one of the quicker cars, that's for sure. Obviously, a new paint scheme that we're having to get used to for you. Something that you've teamed up this season, of course, with Borkland, racing under Sim Racing Forces Norway. Is that a partnership that you're hoping will work out in your favour, getting someone like Borkland on your side?
yeah, I hope so. He's the faster guy, so as I can follow him, then it will be great. So.
Now, pre-season, it's not gone all the way that you would have hoped for, that's for sure. But we go into the first of the point races next week. It's a very different circuit, the Jerez layout. So how are you feeling about that one?
I think it is better with this car.
So hopefully find yourself a little bit further up towards the front then.
I hope so, yeah.
Right, well, I'm sure we'll talk to you all season long, though. Ronald Young there, coming home in spot. So well done, and we will speak to you soon.
Yeah, thank you. Great.
A few people to talk to at the end of that one then, and it was nice to catch up with them all, but the sun is starting to set in the virtual Oulton Park. The sun has by far gone down and set in the outside my window here in the commentary booth, but pre-season is done. It's over. It's finished. We are now heading into the points rounds. Next Friday is the first of the points rounds for the championship. Drivers are going to get 2 drop weekends, which will count from week number 1 all the way to week number 9. That 10th round cannot be dropped. We will see the classes decided after round number 3. So from round 4, we should see all of the drivers in each of their classes ready to compete, and all of the points and championships backtracked to count for that as well. But we are done with the pre-season, and we are prepared for season number 10. 50 drivers are going to be heading down onto the track this season. 21 teams. It is going to be absolutely incredible. So make sure that you hit the subscribe button over here on the SRLTV YouTube channel so that you get notified when SRLTV go live and show this amazing series to you all. And if you're over on the Twitch, hit that follow button as well and you'll be notified when we go live for the SRL TCR series as well as all the other series that we broadcast over here as well. But until next Friday, I hope you have an absolutely fantastic evening. Have a fantastic week. And we will see you back again as this season kicks off at the Jerez circuit next Friday. We'll be going live on the broadcast at 9:15 GMT. And hopefully next week we will be able to see qualifying and we won't have a power cut. I'm very, very happy that we were able to get back and get the races broadcasted to you. And again, we apologise for all of the issues at the beginning of the stream. But until next time, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next week here at the SRL TCRs for round 1 of season number 10.